If you have that one child that seems to always be pushing your buttons, the one that you just struggle the most with, that you're worried might not survive to grow up, or that you just can't figure out, this book is the secret mothering tool you never knew about that might just change your life. I know, because after I had 4 children, I had another one who broke the mold, and who I thought would break me, till I learned how to use this little notebook. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how it worked for us, and I'm going to give you an incredibly simple 3-step system so it can work for you too. When my son was 3, I thought something was wrong with him. He was just a toddler, but he was always in trouble. He seemed to break everything he touched. He hit people. He knocked things down. He was destructive. He never listened, and if he did, he forgot the thing as soon as I said it. In one ear and out the other. Like I said, I already had 4 kids, but something was different this time. My stress levels were through the roof, and I had to be constantly on my toes from sunrise when he got up till the end of the day when he finally stopped wiggling and fell asleep. I was exhausted, and I was worried. Was something wrong with him? Was I messing him up? How could I survive until he grew up? Just at this time in my life, I knew I had to find answers, and then I was given a golden key that opened my eyes in a whole new way. I learned a practice that's not new, but it's also not common. I began to actually pay attention, and it changed everything. Hi, I'm Morgiana Anderson. I'm mom to 8 kids, and I'm passionate about helping mothers who care deeply about their children's mental and emotional health, happiness, and freedom. Not just when they're little, but throughout their lives. Because parenting is the ultimate long game. If that's you, and you want a little health, happiness, and freedom yourself, you're in the right place. So like and subscribe, share with your friends, and stick around to see what I can help you with. Our lives are made up of the stories we tell about ourselves, just as much as they are made up of the actual things that are happening. The meanings we give our relationships and the actions of people around us shape everything, including how we feel about those people and relationships, and certainly how things go moving forward. In a strange way, we create our reality and lay down the foundation for a self-fulfilling prophecy for the future. Our children are particularly susceptible to this. They literally live out the vision we have of them. Whether or not we're clear-eyed, whether or not it's true, they live it out. So when I saw my sweet little boy becoming more and more of a menace, I knew it couldn't just continue. I had to find answers, a solution, something more than just pathologizing or medicating him and growing him into a man filled with shame and inhibition around his natural character and his natural abilities or bent. But it also couldn't just let him run roughshod over everyone and let him grow into an overbearing and self-justified version of masculinity. Life has a way of giving us answers when we're really seeking for them. And this circumstance was no exception. A gentle teacher came into my life, a quiet woman who knew much about children, and armed with only a few simple tools and an air of profound peace and acceptance. She taught me what I'm now going to teach you. So the only tools you're going to need for this are a notebook and a pencil, and maybe a timer. A timer would be helpful also. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be fancy. I've used everything from scratch paper I grabbed off the counter, to sticky notes, to a random school notebook from one of my children, to this fancy leather one that I have now. I just like it because it's pretty. But it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I have used my phone, but I don't recommend it. Somehow getting that out and being involved with it just distracts from the whole situation and oftentimes calls the attention of the child as well. Just make sure that whatever you use to write with is sharpened. Running out of ink or running out of sharp pencil kind of defeats the purpose of the practice. Now that you have your tools, the next most important aspect has to do with your own mental and emotional state. Find a way to calm your mind and ground your emotions. Let yourself be as open and as relaxed as possible. This time is not about interpretations. It's not about judgments. It's not about any preconceived notions or making sense of anything right away. You have to set everything you think you know about your child aside Don't worry about who they are, what they're doing, what you think they mean, what their motives are. All of that has to be set aside in order to be able to do this right. So if you find this part is actually really hard, you might want to go over and check out my free masterclass. It's pinned below. It's raw, it's real, it's simple, but it has some real secrets that no one's talking about how to free yourself from the weight and the heaviness of the misery that sometimes we feel at home when we're all bound up inside of ourselves. How to really relax and be free and calm and open and happy at home again. So back to our exercise. The timing. This practice can go one of several ways. You can do shorter observation more frequently, or you can say take a longer period of time at longer intervals. I found that with active and small children, it worked best if I took about 5 minutes every day of the week, and instead of say 20 minutes every Friday to do this observation exercise. But your mileage may vary depending on your child and your circumstances and when you're available. Do what works for you. Either way can work. You just need to have a collection of several observations in order for it to really begin to yield fruit in your life. A recommendation, don't do it every day at the same time. So you don't want to say do it every day right after breakfast, because you'll just get the same picture every day. Vary the times. You can come looping back to that same time if you want a different picture on a different day. But say one day you do it before breakfast, and one day you do it at snack time. One day maybe when they're out playing with their friends, and another day when they're getting ready for bed. That might not be the best time, but you know what I mean. This way you'll get a whole bigger, clearer picture of what's going on. So now that we have the basics, let's put it all together. The first time that I used this practice with my son, it was mid-morning. I had just put the baby down for a nap and helped some of the other kids with their schoolwork, and I saw him over on the couch, so I grabbed a piece of paper, leaned against the kitchen counter, and started watching. I wanted to observe my wild child. But to my surprise, he wasn't wild. He was sitting quietly on the couch, his little toes straight out in front of him, wiggling. He had a book on his lap, and he was looking at the book. I couldn't hear what he was saying. He was very quietly talking to himself as he looked at first one picture and then the other side. Then he turned the page nicely and kept looking for almost 5 minutes. He wasn't hitting anyone. He wasn't breaking anything. He wasn't being loud or aggressive. He wasn't being inappropriate for the environment in any way. He sat and he read a book to himself. And before he was finished, his little sister bumped him, and I braced myself. I was sure there was going to be some kind of reaction, at least, maybe an explosion. But there wasn't. He didn't even seem to notice. He was so deep in his focus. Then he shut the book, he laid it down beside him, slid off the couch, and calmly walked over to his sisters and asked if he could play with them. I was astonished. Occasionally he would scratch his head or rub his nose, but for almost 5 minutes, that was all he did. Do you see what I did there? That's putting it all together. The observation is not interpreting. It's not judging. It's basically only exactly what you can see or hear happening. Later, after you have several observations, maybe 5 or more, you can start to put them together and draw conclusions about the child and their needs and their circumstances. But while you're in the exercise, write down only exactly what you can see and hear. The reason it surprised me is because it showed me so immediately where my story about this sweet little boy was wrong. He wasn't hyperactive. He wasn't always in trouble. He wasn't inherently violent or aggressive. He was capable of focus and sitting still and interacting peacefully and appropriately with his surroundings. Not only was he capable, he was doing it. I just couldn't see that because of the story in my head and the blinders of busyness. And isn't that so often what gets us as moms?
Now, he certainly still had his moments, and it took more observations to see the whole bigger picture. But when I knew with real evidence who and how he was in the world, really, much of my worry and my angst cleared up. I could actively address things that were a problem and proactively prepare for circumstances that challenged him. But as a whole, I could just enjoy who he was and trust in the process of development over time. So here's my challenge for you. Choose your most perplexing child. Who's that going to be? Make a comment right now. Tell me who it's going to be. Choose the child that you just struggle the most with. Get a notebook, get a pencil, grab a timer, and every day for the next 7 days, set a timer for 5 minutes and just observe. No judgment, no interpretations, just observe who they are and what they're doing. At only what you can see, only what you can hear, only what's actually happening, and write it down. Be wise. Don't choose a time when you know they're going to get into a fight with their brother or sister, or when it's going to be a challenge and you're going to have to intervene. But other than that, see them as they really are in their native environment, maybe in a variety of situations. And then a week from now, look at those notes. Put them all together. See the bigger picture that's spreading before you. Do you know this child better? Do you see them more clearly? Do you find your heart is a little bit softer toward them, a little more attuned as you begin to understand them better? Come back and tell me how it went and what changed for you. My son is 7 now, and he's big, he's bold, he's adventurous, he's a wonderful boy that oftentimes still challenges me. But there's nothing wrong with him, and there was nothing wrong with me. I just needed to learn how to open my eyes and pay attention. You make more of a difference than you realize. You literally change lives by what you're willing to see and pay attention to, not just on the individual level with your child and your family, but on a macro scale with our whole nation is just falling apart right now. And we as mothers have the power to set it on a different course. If you're feeling that and you're interested in knowing more about my thoughts on that, go watch my video on the silent war on mothers and how that's actually the thing that's destroying America. And I'll see you next time.